I'm Christine Persichetti. We begin with a life after death, a parent's mission to bring stillborn prevention to the United States. One family says there are simple procedures that could have saved their daughter Valentina and could save someone else from the heartbreak they feel every day. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has more from Manhattan.
The moment a baby is born, everyone in the room waits for a sound. A cry that lets them know the baby's breathing.
And this is her footprints. And then this is the death certificate.
Crystal Rivera Velez and Christian Ortiz are still waiting.
Giving birth and not hearing her, that hurt just as much as when the doctor told me there was no heartbeat.
This is our urn.
On December 8th, 2021, Crystal gave birth to their daughter Valentina. The only cries she heard were her own. Valentina was dead.
She says, I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat, the baby's dead. Like, just like that.
And then it's like, oh my God, like I thought I was going home with my baby. And that is not happening now.
For 9 months, Christian and Crystal had been loud and proud, expecting parents, telling their family and friends the best was yet to come.
They always told me that I was good, that I was like a textbook perfect pregnancy. That's what they were telling me.
The cause of death was officially listed as cord compression, but Valentina, who was born full term, was just 3 pounds 7 ounces. An autopsy showed Valentina's growth was restricted and her death was preventable.
That's when we started asking questions about how did she really die?
After months of grieving, Crystal and Christian decided to speak up. They created the nonprofit Valentines Voice, helping parents pay for neonatal autopsies and collect data to hopefully prevent another loss.
It is not fair for a researcher to go grab research from this hospital and they have unclean data.
Crystal and Christian never got to hear Valentina's voice.
This is all I have left of being a parent. As her father, I have to do it.
But somehow, they're using it to amplify their own. In Manhattan, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Joining us now, Valentina's father, Christian Ortiz. Christian, thank you so much for being here. I know it's not easy for you.
Thank you for having me. That was hard to watch, and I decided to wear a suit today. So.
I know. You just watched the beginning of your life's work, which unfortunately comes with your daughter's death. What is it like grappling with that?
It's tough. It's tough. The beginning was, no showers, no brushing teeth. There was 2 suicide attempts in my household. It's still tough, It's still tough, especially when I watch stuff like that. It's very difficult.
Imagine. And I want to go over some facts really quickly. Every year, more than 22,000 babies are stillborn. Nearly half of those are preventable. Grieving parents are given the choice of whether or not to have an autopsy performed on their baby, but less than 20% say yes. Why is that, and why did you decide to have the autopsy?
That's a great question. So the narrative in autopsies needs to change. Okay, perinatal autopsies are not a desecration of your child's body. They are micro incisions through the body without nothing on the face or the hands. You can still have an open casket. And I think in the moment of hearing your child that has no heartbeat, chaos ensues, and the mother is always usually drugged up, right? So then it's a hard decision to make at that moment. And the doctors are under a lot of pressure to issue a cause of death at that moment. So they eyeball it.
And you just knew that the cause of death they gave you was not correct.
So if she had been born at 6 pounds, I would have taken the doctor's word for it. Because she was born at 3.7 pounds, I just could not take, full term, 37 weeks. I could not take a word for it, so we decided to go for the autopsy. Crystal did not want to do it. But I needed answers, and I just could not wrap my head around the 3.7 pounds at full term for a textbook pregnancy.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that the doctors are pressured to put a cause of death, and I want you to talk about, you mentioned data hygiene. You created a database. What goes into that?
So we didn't create the database. We're working with partners, University of Michigan, University of Utah, and also Star Legacy Foundation, who's creating the largest database globally for stillbirth. So For now, if somebody were to take Valentina's cause of death and try to issue research on it, it would be wrong, because it would show that it was a cord compression, act of God. There's nothing further to do. My daughter's death was preventable, so we want to make sure that these autopsy reports are funneled through to these institutions so that researchers can grab whatever data points they want, and we can learn how to, first of all, understand how these things happen, and then start issuing some guidelines on how we could prevent them.
Right, okay. And now, I know right now you're still in the fundraising stage, so how much money do you actually need to make this all work?
Yeah, so perinatal autopsies cost about $1,500 on average, right? So we want to do 50 in our first year, okay? So to make all this work, with overhead, about $100K for year one.
Okay.
And we're on track for that.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. Christian, great mission here. We certainly wish you and Crystal all the best here, and we're praying for you.
Thank you.
All right, and you can do more than donate money. For more support for parents, just visit valentinasvoice.org. There you can donate to help pay for perinatal autopsies with the hope of lowering preventable stillbirths. Now let's quickly take a look at some other important headlines happening around the world. An update on the airstrike that hit a Christian hospital in Gaza Tuesday, killing hundreds. President Biden says military data proves it was a rocket misfire from inside Palestine. Threats from Iran, officials warning Israel that time is up. They may join the war. Meanwhile, Sin City just got blessed. Las Vegas is now the United States' newest archdiocese. Now to a feature from the Tablet newspaper. We are going back in time to March 1911, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. All these years later, a new memorial at the site of the factory fire that changed labor laws across the United States. Plus, conversations with the families of survivors and a bargain one 19-year-old made with God. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. Speaking of the old days, a school in the Diocese of Brooklyn is celebrating its 100th birthday. Divine Mercy Catholic Academy was educating children back when gas lights lit up the streets. A lot has changed since then, but one thing remains the same: teaching the students strong moral values rooted in the Catholic faith. Generations of alumni came to celebrate along with Bishop Robert Brennan. Congrats to them. And that is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.